Hi all, this part of the Star Trek Online story series will be looking at the 2800, a story arc that was originally mixed in with the Cardassian arc. Like the prior Deferi storyline that we've just completed, this takes place earlier than the Delta Quadrant, but you can now only access them at the level cap, meaning you have to go back to play them. This is why you'll encounter things like Captain Shon of the USS Enterprise F before he took command of that vessel, and are also going to see the original layout of DS9 as it was when the game first launched. Spoilers, it's bigger and looks less like DS9. After spending some time on Deep Space Nine, we're requested to take part in what is initially some light diplomatic duties to help in the preparation of a conference on board the station.
By now, you've faced the Borg. The Collective is appearing with more frequency in the Alpha Quadrant now, and Deferi is facing repeated attacks. We've been able to push them back so far, but we can't do it forever, not without help. Starfleet has convinced representatives from the Klingon Empire, the Cardassians, and the Deferi to meet on Deep Space Nine. We want you to be there as well.
So nothing too strenuous at least. Let's ease ourselves back into duty after our R&R. Wow, DS9 feels roomy today. We travel to Ops to meet with Commander Andrews, DS9's second-in-command, to discuss how we can help.
Welcome to DS9. I'm Commander Karen Andrews, Captain Carlin's first officer. He asked me to inform you that he's been delayed dealing with an incident in Cargo Bay 3.
She asks us to track down the other conference attendees and let them know there will be a short delay before the start of the conference. She reasons that this will be a good chance for me to get to meet the other delegates, as opposed to sending a junior officer. So we descend back to the promenade to begin our search. We spot a Cardassian uniform in the cafeteria and approach, and sure enough, it is a Cardassian councillor here to attend the meetings.
I'm looking forward to the conference. I'm sure the discussion on the Borg will be enlightening. Your government's position will be of particular interest to me. Clearly, the Borg are a major threat to the Quadrant. However, Cardassia's ability to assist in any action against them will be somewhat limited. If you will recall, we dismantled our military after the Dominion War. We still maintain a small force, but for planetary defense only. Any Cardassian military vessels you may have seen were undoubtedly stolen by the so-called True Way. Regrettably, Starfleet has yet to put a stop to their campaign of terror, though I'm sure they're giving it their best effort.
I am the best effort councillor, and the True Way is a Cardassian matter that the Federation is assisting with. Also, apologies, but the conference will be delayed somewhat.
I'm reminded of an associate of mine, Gul Mavek. He was stationed here during the Dominion occupation. During his time here, he developed a fondness for Bajoran distilled kanar. Apparently, during the Cardassian occupation, the soldiers wanted their favorite libation, but there was not enough kanar in the shipments from home. So these resourceful young officers conscripted a group of Bajorans, mostly from the religious houses, to distill kanar for them.
Is this going anywhere, councillor?
The kanar from Bajor has a different color and flavor from Cardassian vintages. Purists frown on it, of course, but many Cardassians developed quite a taste for it while they were here. Needless to say, it is impossible to find it on Cardassia Prime. I was hoping to acquire some for Mavek before returning home, but I'm afraid the conference is demanding my attention. Perhaps you could be of assistance?
Sure thing, Mr. Garak. I'm heading to Quarks anyway, so I'll keep an eye out for some Bajoran kanar. Inside the establishment, we stop to ask if Maul has seen any of the ambassadors, but he gets us sidetracked for a few with a heated philosophical debate. Yes, but I still think an opportunistic meritocracy is probably the best way to go. Anyway, good talking to you, Morn, but I really have a job to do. Ambassador Surah of Deferi can be found just by the Dubbo table, which is being presided over by a holographic leader.
Hello again. I was so pleased when I heard that you would be attending the conference as well. Without your assistance, my people would have fallen to the breen. Now we are following your example and offering what assistance we can to help deal with the collective. I feel some sympathy for the Borg. Their quest for this so-called perfection has led them away from balance. But they're victims. My people. The Borg must be stopped. I look forward to hearing your ideas of what to do.
Good to see you too, Surah. You look balanced. Captain Curlin says the conference will be delayed a little. Is that alright?
I understand. I must find something to do with my free time. I had been hoping to spend some time in one of the holosuites here. Several people have recommended them, and there is an historical holoprogram, the Matara Nebula, that I have been eager to play. Could you help me gain access to a holosuite? An hour or two would be more than sufficient.
You know what? Sure thing, Ambassador. I'll just check with Quark. Also, you don't happen to have seen any distilled Bajoran Kanar around, have you?
While I recently completed a diplomatic mission to Cardassia Prime, I must admit I never developed a taste for Kanar, and so didn't feel the need to take a bottle with me.
Never mind then. So, the Ambassador's been to Cardassia. The Deferi really are entering the galactic stage, aren't they?
What can I get for you?
Mr. Quark, I would like an available holosuite if you would be so kind, please.
Sorry, I can't help you there. All of the holosuites are booked solid for the next week. I almost have more business than I can handle. Almost. Might be time to expand. Been thinking about a franchise operation for some time now. A Quarks in every sector, a Quarks in every quadrant.
I hear Free Cloud can be lucrative for those of shady dispositions.
The only way you're going to get a reservation for today is by traveling back in time 3 months and making one there. That was a joke, by the way. You and I both know that the Federation gets pretty cranky about someone violating the Temporal Prime Directive.
I don't know what you mean. Shut up, who told you? Anyway, back to the reservation. Could I maybe swap with someone?
I don't have any problem with that, as long as it doesn't make any problems for me. Understand? You bring Chief Rowe or Curlin in here asking about someone shaking people down for holosuite reservations, I won't hesitate to point out any suspicious characters I know about.
Okay, memo to self, don't underestimate Quark. Actually, Mr. Quark.
What can I get for you?
Bajoran distilled Kanar?
Kanar. Can't stand the stuff. And the profit margins are terrible. This is for Garak, isn't it? Thought I saw him lurking around. Well, he's out of luck. I haven't kept any Kanar in stock since he went back to Cardassia. No one else drinks it here. Don't suppose I could interest you in some prune juice?
No thanks. Why would you have a surplus of prune juice? Who drinks prune juice? So we set about asking around for a holosuite reservation, and we'll start with this Trill lady over here, who is not shy about hitting on us. She invites us to partake in her hologram, as it will be more fun with two, and although tempting, she won't give up the reservation, and I doubt the Ambassador would agree to share. Although maybe I'll suggest it to him anyway. Or maybe I'll just cancel my evening plans. Anyway, this dude just tells us to get lost in about 3 different ways, so no help here then. And then finally, this merchant, Zar, is using a holosuite later to demonstrate self-sealing stem bolts to a client, but she says if we can find her a buyer, then she won't need the reservation, and it's ours. Alright, progress, at least on one of these fronts. Travelling down to our maintenance bay, we can find Captain Shon poring over his ship's repairs.
You kept your head in that tricky situation in the Iconia system. Good to have people like you on our side.
Oh, yes, the whole Taris incident.
And I'm glad there's someone else here who's faced the Borg in battle. We have a perspective the rest of these full-time diplomats don't.
Yes, I lost a ship to the Borg. Speaking of ships, would you be interested in self-sealing stem bolts?
How many do you have? My chief engineer has been looking for stem bolts for weeks. He wants to do some upgrades to the Belfast. and the Defiant class has always been a little touchy. Sometimes it's best to use what works, even if the technology's a little out of date. We've made inquiries with several traders, but everyone we talked to dumped their inventories after the speculation bubble burst. Some Ferengi out there made a small fortune a few months ago cornering the stem bolt market, but now that supply is gone. I was hoping to find some here, but so far I haven't had the chance. If you know of a source, my crew could make the upgrades we need without having to find an industrial replicator.
Well, lucky for you, I've got a merchant called Zar who needs to offload her entire stock, and I don't think she's Federation, so you'll probably have to pay. But you know what, I'll even spare some of my crew to help in the repairs if you want. Most of them are still waiting on assignment.
I appreciate the offer. My crew could really use a few extra hands to get the work done. But if you need your officers to do something else, I understand. I'll talk to Commander Andrews to see if she has anyone who can help.
To help Captain Shon, we can use the game's assignments system to delegate tasks to the crew and assign them to 3 jobs on the USS Belfast: installing new components, policing the crew on leave, always a crowd pleaser that one, and reviewing sensor logs. With those underway, we pass by the temple and an idea occurs to me.
May the prophets bless you.
Gesundheit. Do you know about Bajoran distilled canal?
Peace be with you.
The Bajoran Prylar does indeed. He tells us about the fact that the monks of the prophets were forced into distilling Kanar under the occupation, that the Cardassians of that time selected such figureheads of Bajoran society to humiliate and try to demoralise them, to show the Bajorans that no aspect of their culture was safe. Understandably, the Bajoran Kanar is now seen as a representation of this, of the oppression, and that it was for a frivolous commodity such as alcohol only adds insult to injury. But yes, they have some, as part of a display of that dark time. He is willing to give them away though. As far as he's concerned, they're a relic of a dark time, and he feels that if we can do some good with them, then it will serve in some way. This makes things a little more awkward. When we confront Councillor Garak, we can choose not to give him the drink to take back with him. He might not have considered the representation behind this beverage, and we can lecture him about its origin and withhold the Kanar. It might seem moral and just to do so, but the Prylar did give it to us to do something good with, and strengthening friendship with the new Cardassia hopefully counts.
Impressive. Authentic Bajoran Kanar is hard to come by, even here. You're quite a resourceful individual. Thank you for your assistance. If at some point I can assist you in return, all you need to do is ask.
I'll hold you to that, Councillor. We return to Zar and inform her that Captain Shon would like to negotiate for the stem bolts, and she gives us her time slot for the holosuite. We return to Quark to finalise the trade. Mr. Quark, Zar has agreed to transfer her reservation to us.
Good for you. There is the small matter of the reservation transfer fee, however.
A reservation transfer fee? What's that?
There is a minor fee associated with transferring a holosuite reservation. It's just enough to cover my administrative costs. 10,000 gold press latinum. Payable immediately.
10,000 That's outrageous! I don't even... How much have I got? 65. 10,000! You could buy a holosuite for that much. A whole holosuite.
Ooh, I can see you're a tough negotiator. And you do have a paid reservation. I'll make you a deal to speed things up so you can go save Captain Proton, or whatever it is you need the holosuite for. 2,000 gold pressed latinum. I'm losing money here, but I'll do it for you.
2,000 for an administrative fee.
You're killing me here. All right. I'll give you the friends and family discount, but you owe me one, and I have every intention of collecting. 100 gold pressed latinum. Final offer. I suggest you take it.
But I'm Starfleet. I don't even have 100.
Oh, that sounds like a personal problem. Look, there's a Dabo table behind you. Try your hand at that. You might get lucky. Eventually. Good luck.
Spin the wheel and win.
How do you play Dabo? What's this spinny roulette wheel thing?
Our wheels are made on Ferenginar and fully certified by the Ferengi Gaming Commission, so you know your bet is safe and the table is fair. Bet safely and bet often.
Okay, so what is Darbo with Lita? I've only met one Lita and, well, that's a whole different story.
Dabo with Lita is a fully licensed product of Quark Enterprises. All rights reserved. Spin the wheel and win.
I meant I want to know more about Lita.
Sure thing. I'm Lita, the First Lady of the Ferengi Alliance, but I used to live on Deep Space Nine and run these tables. After the Dominion War ended, I left DS9 with Rom to live on Ferenginar. He's Grand Nagus, you know, and I'm so proud of him. But my old boss Quark was losing profit, so he talked me into posing for this hologram. I'm still not sure it was a good idea, but Quark is family. I had to help him out. And if the players are happy with a hologram, well, who am I to judge?
After some time betting some of Starfleet's allocation of energy credits, which thankfully seems to be convertible into latinum here, we managed to scrape together enough strips of the rare liquid metal to pay for the transfer fee.
Pleasure doing business with you. Enjoy yourself. Drop by any time you're on DS9.
I get the feeling he doesn't like me. Ambassador Surah, we have a holosuite for you.
Hello again. Wonderful. Most of the holotechnology on Deferi is used for training or utilitarian purposes, so I don't have many chances to use a holosuite for entertainment. Thank you for your assistance. I hope you didn't go through too much trouble on my account.
That Ferengi knows too much. And finally we track down Ambassador Staass of the Klingon Empire. This Gorn tends to represent them quite a bit in high-end negotiations, and it's a promising sign that he's here in person. Although hostilities with the Klingon Empire are decreasing, there remains some tension in the air.
Ah, I was informed you would be here. Have you come with another friendly reminder from Commander Andrews? Feel free to report back to her and let her know that I haven't eaten the furniture or scared away the Dabo players. Not yet, anyway.
Oh, look at that! Captain Shon says, excuse me, Minute Ambassador.
Thanks for your help. My ship is running like new again. You have an excellent crew.
Hey, no problem, Captain. Do you need a hand anymore? No? Ambassador Staass, Commander Andrews wanted me to let you know that the start of the conference has been delayed.
That is troubling. My ship is waiting to return to Kronos as soon as these talks are completed. I have no wish to linger here any longer than is necessary.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Sorry to trouble you again, but Captain Curlin is wrapping up the problem in the cargo bay, and we will be able to begin the talks very soon. I've notified the other attendees, but our opening speaker isn't responding to Hale's. Could you please track him down for me? Admiral Zavglach Trem mentioned wanting someplace quiet. You might try the upper promenade or the temple.
Sure enough, we can track down the Tellarite Admiral in the Bajoran Temple, and we can inform him that he'll shortly be needed.
My apologies, both to you and Commander Andrews. It's not often that I get some time to myself these days. Captain Kurland offered me the use of his office, but I came here instead for some peace and quiet. Peace. It's in far too short of supply these days.
Couldn't agree more, Admiral. Now, if
I've been in Starfleet for a long time.
I bet I've been in it longer.
I've seen more battles than I care to remember. But this one, there's no reasoning with the Borg. There's no chance for a non-violent solution. I only hope that we can unite before they come for us. No one is safe.
After killing some more time, we're able to report to the conference room, which appears to be on the lower outer ring of the station, judging from the windows and the view. Captains Kurland and Shon are here, as well as Ambassador Surah, Staass and Councillor Elim Garak. We take our seats when we're ready to begin. Now, a quick aside, there is a bug here where Garak's dialogue plays over the voice of the original Cardassian ambassador, making it a mess. A viewer sent me a clear voice file to use over these lines, so thank you to that individual.
Welcome, everyone. I'm so pleased that you all agreed to join us here today. As many of you are all too aware, the Borg attacks are increasing. If they are left unchecked, Starfleet predicts that the entire Alpha Quadrant could fall within 3 years. We all must work together to push these invaders out of our space and protect our homes and families.
I do not agree. My empire will stand, with or without your assistance. The Klingon Empire has never been stronger than it is right now. I dare the Borg to challenge us. Starfleet may cower in fear before a bunch of machines, but we do not.
If the Borg assimilate everyone in this quadrant, the might of the Klingon Empire will pale in comparison to that of the collective. How does the proverb go? Ah, yes. The wind does not respect a fool.
The Deferi believe that all things must be in balance. We cannot counter the Borg threat if we ourselves are counter to one another. The Deferi do not wish to act against any of you. Therefore, should this meeting not reach a consensus, our best course of action is to not act at all.
Starfleet will do what it must to protect the Federation. However, if you want our assistance, you need to be willing to protect yourselves and contribute to this campaign. The Borg will be stronger if any of your civilizations are assimilated. Starfleet's hard at work developing new technology and tactics. We, at least, will be ready. And if we can't cooperate, I hope you don't suffer. And that we develop new weapons in time.
This is getting us nowhere. We came together in the spirit of cooperation. We need to find common ground. Now, did you have something you wanted to add to this discussion?
What? Oh, right, I'm standing. Well, with a high enough diplomacy rank, something Hale here doesn't have, you can argue all the representatives into banding together. If not, however, well, this is the reason for those earlier side quests. We'll start with Councillor Garak. Will Cardassia lend its support?
Cardassia Prime is still rebuilding from the Dominion War. We've achieved a great deal, but there is still much more to do. The continued threat of the True Way makes progress difficult. Simply put, draining Cardassia's limited resources to fight the Borg will be a hard sell to the Detapa Council.
But think about what happens to Cardassia Prime. All that progress you've made. What happens to all that if the Borg turn up on your doorstep? You said it yourself, Cardassian resources are severely taxed right now, and you only have enough ships to lightly defend the homeworld.
We will protect our homeworld until the very end. Never think otherwise. Believe me, we understand the threat of the Borg. We just don't have the resources of the Federation or the Klingons. Even the Republic is in a better state in that regard. Defending Cardassia is not only our first option, it is our only viable option.
Right, and the best way to do that is to throw your support behind a joint alliance to tackle the Borg and other threats. In this situation, consider how many other worlds would be displaced otherwise. Every planet or colony would still be under threat.
There is a certain wisdom in forming a unified force here. And Cardassia has other assets to lend to the effort besides brute force. Intelligence gathering, for example. Now, I just need to convince the Detapa Council, which is far easier said than done. I might have better luck fighting a Borg cube by myself.
And Ambassador Staass.
Be careful. You are dangerously close to insulting the honor of the Klingon Empire.
You talk about honor. Doesn't your honor require you to fight with all of your strength against an enemy like the Borg?
Do not presume to know what our honor demands. The Empire's pursuit of honor does not mean we are compelled to fight other people's battles.
So it's honourable to hold back in a fight if it helps others instead of using your full strength, then?
Full strength? Ha! the might of the Klingon Empire can stand against the entire galaxy. Let them come.
Yeah, sure, the Klingon Empire is indeed mighty, but what about this alliance here? How's it gonna fare without Klingon support?
What does the Empire gain by fighting at your side? We do not need to be hamstrung by your weakness, or to put your needs above our own.
Because the Borg grow in strength with every enemy they fell. If the Empire stands aside now and the Federation is overrun, then you'll be facing a Borg threat bolstered by the numbers of Federation worlds, civilians and Starfleet alike. Can the Empire beat that?
Ha! Starfleet won't survive without our assistance. It is good, then, that we see the merit in fighting at your side in this instance. It would not be honorable for us to reserve our strength while others go out to fight. That is a trick worthy of a Romulan.
Next up is Ambassador Surah. The Deferi only act in accordance with a perceived galactic balance.
Maintaining balance with all things must be our primary concern.
Now that's fair enough, but the Borg don't care about your views. They will roll right through your system and assimilate it.
My world is one of those at risk, but I cannot reject balance, even to save my home and people. The universe uses conflict to restore the balance when we move too far out of equilibrium. The Borg advance, as painful as it may be, is simply another adjustment.
Just look at how the Borg operates. They are the very definition of imbalance. They assimilate, replacing an individual with a drone, tipping the scales ever in their favour.
It is one thing to choose to swim upstream against the current. It is quite another to drain the river because it is flowing in the wrong direction. The Borg do not respect the balance. We will offer what support we can to your fight.
And Captain Shon, you know as well as any that we cannot let the Borg gain any more traction in the Alpha Quadrant.
Starfleet will do everything we can to protect the Federation and its allies. However, there are too many drains on our resources and a limited number of ships and officers. It may be simply unfeasible for us to sign on to be the protector of the entire Alpha Quadrant. Besides, we need to consider the Prime Directive. There are limits to what we can do.
Mutual cooperation and protection. That's one of the founding ideals of the Federation. We cannot continue to look inwards forever. Starfleet needs to stand for something.
Under dire circumstances, Starfleet may be forced to pull back from protecting all life to a position where we can defend only the core worlds. I hope it doesn't come to that. If it does, however, the needs of the many must outweigh the needs of the few.
And in this case, the needs of the many are the needs of a quadrant, not just the Federation. I'll have to thank Morn for that philosophy warm-up earlier.
Starfleet recognizes the Borg threaten all life in the Alpha Quadrant. We've lost too much already. We cannot lose anymore. Eventually, we'll all need to put our differences aside and unite in opposition to the Borg or anyone else who sows chaos and destruction. We'll put an end to this together.
Let's take a quick recess to cool off. And that's funny, I don't remember anyone being scheduled to fly through the wormhole today.
That looks like a lot of ships coming through. Hail to Daring, can we get a sensor read on them? They look like Dominion ships.
There's something coming out of the wormhole. Captain! It's a Dominion fleet! They're charging weapons! Red alert!